Good morning, all of you. Welcome to your iLearn English Literature live class. We are reading a story, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So let us continue from where we are left. We have to continue from page number 98. Okay. Yes, Kritika, you can start reading.
Do you have many friends? Asked Bruno, cocking his head a little to the side as he waited for an answer. Oh yes, said Schimmel. Well, sort of there is a lot of us boys our age. I mean, on the side of fence. It's so unfair, said Bruno. I don't see why I have to be stuck over here on this side of the fence where there's no one to talk and no one to play with. And you get have dozens of friends and probably playing for hours every day. Where did you come from?
We can stop. You can mute yourself. Fine. So if you remember the other day in the last class, what we read is that Bruno, who has moved from Berlin to Auschwitz, okay, because his father has been promoted to the post of commandant in the German army. So he has given the in charge. He has been made the in charge of Auschwitz concentration camp. All right. So all of them had to move to Auschwitz, and Bruno does not like his new house because he misses his old house and his friends. Fine. And one fine day, he set out an exploration. He goes outside and he tries to find out what is there at the end of the fence. Okay, a never-ending fence which he saw. So he wanted to explore what is there at the end of it. Fine. And while he was walking, he happens to meet Schmel, all right, who was sitting on the other side of the fence, and he was wearing striped pajamas and striped shirts. Okay, and Bruno had always wondered why the people on the other side of the fence wore such type of clothes. Okay, and what made them different from the people on his side of the fence. All right. So now he reaches Schmel and they start talking. Fine. And one very surprising thing Bruno finds out is that both of them share the same birth dates. Fine. So while they were talking, so this conversation still continues, and then he asked, "Do you have many friends?" Bruno asks Schmel that whether he has a lot of friends on his side, because the only thing which was causing trouble to Bruno was that he had nobody to play with. Okay, in his new house, because he is just remembering he is missing his old friends, his three friends who were there in the three best friends who were there in Berlin, back in Berlin. So he is missing them. Okay, and what is the most annoying thing about this place is that he has nobody to play with. Fine. So the only question which is going on in Bruno's mind is that he could see a lot of people on the other side of the fence. So he also goes on and asks Schmel whether he has a lot of friends over there. Okay, cocking his head means tilting his head towards one side. Okay, and he waited for an answer. Shmuel said, "Yes, I have a lot of friends." And then he says, "Sort of, as there are a lot of us." Okay, so why has he said sort of? Because he thinks that you cannot call everybody, your friend. So he says, "Yes, there are a lot of children of my age." Okay, boys of our age means he had a lot of children, boys who were of his age. Okay, on his side of the fence. So yes, you can say I have many friends, sort of. Fine. So Bruno thinks that life is being very unfair with him because on one side there is Bruno who has nobody to play with, okay, who is just alone. Fine, he finds his house dark and lonely because he has nobody to play with. All right, nobody to talk to of his age. Because who all are there in his house? Only his mother, his sister, and also a maid is also there in his house. So he has nobody of his age with whom he could talk, he could play, right? So he thinks that life is being very unfair and life is being harsh on him because he has no friend, whereas Schmel on the other side has a lot of people with him. Okay, a lot of friends, a lot of boys of his age with whom he could play. Okay, and he thinks that he is stuck on the wrong side of the fence, and he has a very worse situation. Okay, he is in a worse situation because he has nobody with whom he could play. And thinking about Shmuel, he thinks that Shmuel has a lot of friends with whom he would be playing every day for hours. Fine. Okay, Aisha, you may read ahead. Where did you come from? Unmute. You're not audible, Aisha.
Where did you come from? asked Sherman, narrowing his eyes and looking at Bruno curiously. Berlin. Where's that? Bruno opened his mouth to answer, but found that he wasn't entirely sure. It's in Germany, of course, he said. Don't you come from Germany? No, I am from Poland, said Sherman. Bruno, Bruno
Round.
frowned. Then why do you speak German? He asked. Because you said hello, German. So I answered German. Can you speak Polish? No, said Bruno, laughing. Nervously, I don't know anyone who can speak two languages, and especially no one of our age.
All right, you can mute yourself. So now what happens is that they are again talking to each other, and this is their first meeting, so they want to find out about each other as much as they can. All right, so then after talking about the friends, they come to the next topic, that is their places of origin. All right, so Shmuel asks where does he belong to, where does he hail from, where does he come from. Okay, then Bruno replies that he is originally from Berlin. Okay, so Shmuel again asks, where is Berlin? Because these are very small children, 9-year-old. So they just know their own places and, very famous places which are there. So he doesn't know where Berlin is. So he asks, where is Berlin? Then Bruno tried to give a detailed explanation, but he opened his mouth. That means he wanted to tell a lot about his place, but then he found that he wasn't much sure about the location of Berlin. Okay, so he just gave a generalized answer, and he said, of course, it is in Germany. So then he further questions Shmuel that is he not from Germany? So Shmuel answers that no, he is from Poland. Right? So here we come to know that both of them belong to different places. Bruno hailed from Berlin and Shmuel was from Poland, and both of them have come over to Auschwitz because of two very different reasons. All right. Then Bruno again asked. Bruno was taken to surprise that because Shmuel was speaking German. Okay, so he asked, why do you speak German then? I mean, how could you speak German? Because when you are from an entirely different country. Okay, Poland is a different country. I hope you people know that. Right? So German and Poland are two different countries of Europe. Okay, so both of them belong to two different countries. So Bruno thought that someone who is not from Germany, how could that person speak the language of his own country? How could he speak German? Okay, so Shmuel says he spoke in German because Bruno started to talk in German. Because Bruno said hello in German, so he answered. So Shmuel also replied in the same language in German. So again, Bruno continues and Shmuel continues and asks whether Bruno could speak Polish or not, because Shmuel could speak German. So he was expecting that Bruno might also be knowing Polish. Okay, Polish is the language of Poland. All right, like German is the language of Germany. Similarly, Polish is the language of Poland. So you can underline and write out. Okay, then he said, Bruno said, no, of course, I don't know how to speak Polish. And he said that laughing nervously. Okay, because Shmuel was just full of surprises. Okay, he kept on surprising him. First thing is that he told him that both of them had shared the same birth dates. Then he saw that a boy who's of 9 years of age, he is speaking a different language. Okay, so he continues. He says that I don't know anyone who can speak two languages. Okay, so this was surprising for him also, and he was also impressed. Okay, it also impressed Bruno that Shmuel could speak two languages. Okay, because he further says he does not know anyone who can speak two languages, and especially nobody of our age. That means nobody who is so small as 9-year-old could speak two languages. Right. So let's see what Shmuel has to say. Yes, Vartul, you can read ahead.
Mama is a teacher in my school and she taught me German, explained Shmuel. She speaks French too, and Italian and English. She's very clever. Where is Poland anyway? Bruno asked after a few silent moments had passed. Well, it's in Europe, said Shmuel. I think Poland is in Denmark, asked Bruno. No, said Shmuel. Denmark quite far away from both Poland and Germany. Bruno frowned. He did heard of all these places, but he always found it hard to get them straight in his head. I've never been to Berlin, said Shmuel, and I don't think I have ever been to Poland, said Bruno. Where I come from is a lot nicer, said Shmuel. It's certainly not as nice as Berlin, said Bruno. In Berlin, we had a big house with 5 floors, and it was much nicer before things
Changed. Okay, you can stop here. Mute yourself. Fine. So again, what happens is that when when Bruno was surprised and he asked how could he speak two languages when he's so young, when he's so small. So Shmuel gives explanation. He says that he could speak two languages because his mother was a teacher in his school. All right, and in his school means where Shmuel used to study. So his mother was a teacher over there, and she taught him German. So he learned German in school. Fine. Then he further goes on to say that his mother could speak French, Italian, and English. So his mother had command over 4 languages except for Polish. All right. So therefore, he says that his mother is very clever. Here, clever means intelligent. Okay, wise. So it is not in a negative way. Clever, he means to say that his mother is very intelligent. She is very wise because she could speak 4 languages and Polish, except Polish also. Besides Polish, that means Polish is their native language. So they obviously know Polish, and other than that, they know. His mother knows 4 different foreign languages as well. So he has learned German from his mother in school, right? So this is a very important point you people should know. If it is asked in the question is asked that how did he know, how could Shmuel speak German? So you have to mention this point, okay? Because he learned German from his mother in the school. Then Bruno changes the topic. Okay, he goes on and asks, "Where is Poland anyway?" So you know how a conversation goes on when you meet somebody for the first time. Okay, you ask one question, the other person replies and asks you back the same question. So similarly, Shmuel asked, "Where is Berlin?" Similarly, this boy Bruno is also asking, "Where is Poland?" Okay. Bruno asked after a few silent moments passed. So they were talking, and then they were also taking a pause, and then they were again continuing the conversation. So Shmuel says that well, it's in Europe, so it is a country basically. So you see, he said Berlin. Then to that reply, when Shmuel asked where is Berlin, Bruno said that it is in Germany. Okay, so he was talking about a city, so he mentioned the name of the country. Now Bruno is asking about the location of a country, so Shmuel is saying that it is in Europe. He's mentioning the name of the continent. Fine. So, Bruno is not very good in geography because he says that he thinks Poland is in Denmark. So one country is in another country. He's trying to say that, right? So Schmel is a bit wiser over here. We can analyze this because he knows places. Fine. He says that no, he's sure about it, and he says Denmark is quite far away, very far away from both Poland and Germany. So these are three different countries, okay, which are the part of Europe, a continent. So he says that Denmark, you are mistaken. Denmark is quite away from Poland and Germany. These places cannot be intermixed. Fine. So Bruno frowned. Okay, again, and then he says that he had heard of all these places, but he found it hard to get them straight in his head. What does this mean? That he had heard, okay, like you hear a lot of things, but after some time you are not able to remember or recall whatever you have heard. So similar is the case with Bruno. He had heard of all these places. He had heard of Denmark. He had heard of Poland. Fine, but he could never understand or make it clear in his mind that where exactly these places were. Fine, so he's a 9-year-old boy, and what can we expect from him? Fine, so he always used to get confused when it comes to the name of the countries and the location. Okay, so when it came to the name of the countries and its location. So Schmel says that he had never been to Berlin. He had always stayed in Poland, and he had never been to Berlin. And Bruno also says that he also had never been to Poland. So both of them had never been to each other's place where both of them belonged to. Okay, so both the places were new to both of them. Then Schmel goes on and says that he remembers his place. Okay, he recalls all the memories which are associated with Poland. So he says that where he comes from is a very nice place, much nicer than Auschwitz. Fine. So it's certainly not as nice as Berlin. So now you see the argument starts. Fine. Both of them are now going to support their own place of origin. So he says, you think that Poland is a nice place, but it is certainly not as nice as Berlin. So according to Bruno, Berlin is nicer than Poland. Right? Then he continues and also gives an explanation that why is he saying this. He says that in Berlin they had a big house with 5 floors. All right. In the very beginning of the story, you must remember that he said that the house was small. Okay, this is the thing which annoyed him, which annoyed Bruno. So now he is telling about his house in Berlin. He says that he had a very big house over there, and that house had 5 floors. Okay, and it was much nicer before the things changed. So he says that in Berlin itself, the things have changed. The things had changed. Okay, so he said that it was again much nicer before the things changed. Right? So let us see what changes had taken place. Okay, Om can read.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it used to be very quiet there, explained Bruno. Where didn't like to talk about how things had changed, and I was able to read in bed at night. But now it's quite noisy, sometimes and scary, and we have to turn off when it starts to get dark due to the possibility of air raids by enemy Air Force airplanes at night. Where
Okay.
I come from is a
You
much
can stop here. Now, he says that he used to enjoy a lot at his house in Berlin, but then things changed. Okay, and so Schmel asks how the things have changed. Fine. So he says, well, it used to be very quiet over there. Okay, in Berlin, he is now talking about 2 situations in Berlin only. So before World War II, before the commencement of World War II, he is saying that the place was very quiet. Okay, it was peaceful. Here by quiet, he means that everything was very peaceful. Right? Then Bruno obviously did not like to talk about how things had changed, but then he had met somebody who is of his age, so he goes on talking, and he wanted to tell Shmuel about everything, whatever he knew. So he says that it used to be very peaceful and quiet place, and he was able to read in bed at night. So he had a habit of reading before going off to sleep. So he used to read before going off to sleep. Okay, and then what happens now? Now the things have changed. How? Because it is quite noisy sometimes. So now in Berlin, the things have changed. The peaceful atmosphere has changed, and the quietness which was there, which Bruno liked earlier, it has changed to the noisy atmosphere. Okay, and scary also, because he doesn't know. The boy is innocent. He doesn't know about the war. Okay, he could just observe the changes which have taken place. So that is what he is mentioning over here. He's not talking about war because he is unaware of the war which is going on. He could just observe the changes. So he said he is there. Therefore, he's comparing the situations. All right, and then he says that they were forced to turn off the light. Now, turning off the light means what? Where as soon as it used to get dark. Okay, this was one instruction given to the public in Germany, that as soon as it used to get dark, they were all asked to put the lights of their homes, put their lights off. Okay, why? Because back then, during 1940s, GPS was not there. Okay, so how were these enemy aeroplanes? They could find out the populated city by looking at the lights. Okay, at night they were just the aeroplanes used to hover around the place, and wherever there were lights, so they would drop bombs over there. Air raids means dropping bombs. So that is why, in order to confuse the enemy aeroplanes, the German public was asked to keep their lights off, so that they could not figure out where the which areas are densely populated. Okay, where civilians used to live. So this is why they were asked to put the lights off, fine, so that enemy aeroplanes could not find out where civilians are populated, all right, where they are living. So when they were forced to turn the lights off, so that meant that Bruno was not allowed to read at night. Okay, he liked to read at night before going to bed. So when they were asked to turn the lights off, when the situation changed, so this also had to change. Okay, he had to give up his habit. He had to give up his hobby of reading before going to bed. Right. So these are the two changes which he is talking about. The place turning noisy. Okay, and then because of switching the lights off, he could not read at night. So these are the changes which he had, which he tells Shmuel. Okay, Priyanshi, you can read ahead.
Where I come from is much nicer than Berlin, said Shmuel, who had never been to Berlin. Everyone there is very friendly, and we have lots of friends in our family, and the food is a lot better too. Well, we will have to agree to disagree, said Bruno, who didn't want to fight with his new friend. All right, said Shmuel. Can I ask you something? Bruno asked after a moment.
Okay. Yes. So now what happens is that after listening to all this, after listening to the situation with which Bruno was dealing, Shmuel says that now where I come from is much nicer than Berlin. So see, Shmuel had never been to Berlin. Okay, but when he listened to what this boy Bruno was telling him, then he said that whatever on hearing whatever you have said, I can make out that my place, okay, Poland is much better than Berlin, right? So then he goes on and he says, why is he saying that his place is better? He says that everyone there means everyone in Poland is very friendly, and we have lots of people in our family. So Shmuel has also a very big and nice family, and the food is a lot better too. So you can see that the food has come into picture when Shmuel is talking, because Shmuel is obviously a prisoner. Okay, he has been taken captive, so he must not be provided with a very good quality food, right? So and moreover, they were brought over there and they were waiting for their deaths. All right, so they were not given very good quality food. So he remembers what food, okay, delicious, scrumptious food they used to have back in Poland. So he is saying that everybody was friendly at his place, and a lot of people. So he must be missing all of them, his relatives, his friends, and the food basically. Fine. So on hearing this, Bruno continues and he says that, well, we'll have to agree to disagree. Okay, that means we'll have to respect each other's opinion, because for both of them, their own place of origin was better. Okay, for Bruno, Berlin was nice, and for Shmuel, Poland was nice. Okay, and they will be disagreeing for this, and the argument, the discussion and the argument would go on and on. So they could just respect each other's opinion and understand and agree to this fact that for Bruno, Berlin will always be a nice place, and for Shmuel, Poland will always be a nice place. So there is no point in arguing and proving their points, right? So and also Bruno did not want to fight with his new friend, so he wanted to end the discussion. Okay, he wanted to cut this out. Shmuel also agrees. He says, okay, all right. Then Bruno continues. Okay, then again they take a pause. So Bruno again asks after a moment can I ask you something? Then let's read ahead. Yes, Akshita.
Yes, said Shmuel. Bruno thought about it. He wanted to face the question just right. Why are there so many people on that side of the fence? He asked. And what are you all doing there? All I know is this. Being Shmuel, before we came here, I lived with my mother and father and my brother Joseph in a small flat above the store where Papa makes his watches. Every morning we ate our breakfast together at 7 o'clock, and while we went to school, Papa mended the watches that people bought to him and made new ones too. I had a beautiful watch with a golden face that he gave me, but I don't have it anymore. What happened to it?
You can stop here, Akshita, and mute yourself. So Bruno again says that he wants to ask something from Shmuel. So Shmuel says, yes, go on, continue what you have to ask. So Bruno thinks about it, because he just takes a moment and he wants to frame the question in a proper way, in a proper manner. He wanted to phrase the question, means he wanted to frame a proper question before asking. Okay, what does he want to ask? Why are there so many people on that side of the fence? Now here you will understand why he is taking a moment to frame the question properly, because he thinks, because whenever he had asked this question from his father or his family members, he never got any answer, any satisfactory answer. So he was also doubtful whether this boy Shmuel would be giving a proper answer to this question, whether his query would be satisfied or not. Okay, so therefore he wanted to ask a perfect question to which he could get a perfect answer, because he is still curious about the different type of clothing which is there on the different sides of the fence. All right. So he asked, why are there so many people on that side of the fence, and what basically are you all doing over there? Why is there a fence in between, and why are you all gathered at the opposite side of the fence, and for what purpose? Okay, Shmuel says, Shmuel starts to answer and he says, all I know is this. Before we came here, I lived. So he is telling his story, okay, his background story. Shmuel also is unaware. Why has he been brought to this place, to this concentration camp? Because he does not answer his question directly. Okay, he has started his journey from Poland to this place. All right, why has he been brought here? What has happened? He is not. He does not have any clue. Neither Shmuel nor Bruno have any kind of clue what is going on, what is happening around. Fine. So he says that what all I know about this is that before I came here, I was living with my mother and father. That means he was living with his parents, and he had also a brother whose name was Joseph. And in a small flat above the store. So there was a store on the ground floor, and there was a flat on the top of the store. And in that flat they used to live. Fine. And in the store, his father used to make watches. So his father was a watchmaker who used to make new watches, and who also used to repair the damaged ones, okay, which people used to bring to him in order to get repaired, to get their watches repaired. So he tells about his father, and he says that every morning he ate breakfast together at 7 o'clock. So this shows that he had a normal life, okay. Every morning they used to sit together like a happy family. Okay, sit together having their breakfast at 7 o'clock at a proper time, and then because they are school going children, so they go to school. We also includes their mother. Okay, Joseph, Shmuel, and their mother, because if you remember, their mother used to teach in their school, right? And while his father used to mend the watches, people used to bring to him, and he also used to make new watches as well. And Shmuel also goes on and tells Bruno that he had a very beautiful watch which had a golden face, okay, which had a golden dial, and his father had given that watch to him. But then he again tells Bruno that he does not possess that watch anymore. He does not have that watch anymore with him. Okay, now Athar can read. Yes, Athar.
What happened to it? Asked Bruno. The soldiers took it from me, said Schwell, as if this was the most obvious thing in the world. And then one day things started to change. He continued. I came home from school, and my mother said we couldn't live in our house anymore. That happened to me too, shouted Bruno, delighted that he wasn't the only boy who had been forced to move. The fury. He came in for dinner, you see, and the next thing I knew, we moved here, and I hated it here. He added in a loud voice, did he came to your house and do the same thing?
Okay, Athar, we can stop here. Now, what happens is that when Shmuel tells Bruno that he does not possess his golden watch any longer. So Bruno asks, what has happened to it? Where has it gone? Why don't you have that watch with you? So Shmuel says that the soldiers took it from me, as if this was the most obvious thing. Means he thinks that he has given the most obvious answer, because the soldiers who had taken away his home, his mother also, then they are only the people who have taken, who Bruno should have understood that they only had taken the watch. Okay, so this was the most obvious thing, means that it should have been understood by Bruno. Okay, so it was very evident, it was a clear and obvious thing. So that is why he says this. And then one day things started to change. He continued. Okay, so you can look at the contrast. Okay, things have changed in Bruno's life as well, and things have changed in Shmuel's life as well. But if you compare both of their lives, so you will see that the changes which have come in Shmuel's life, is much worse than what Bruno is thinking. Right? So he says that one day the things started to change. Why? Because he came from school and his mother said that when he returned from school, so his mother informed him that they couldn't live in their house any longer. So they would have to leave their house. Okay. As soon as Bruno listened to this, as soon as Bruno heard this, he says he jumps. Okay, and he was very excited, and he says that he gets excited, and he says that the same thing has happened to me as well. Okay, so he is a very curious boy, and he is just trying to find the similarity. He is just trying to find similarities between his life and Shmuel's life. Fine. So as soon as he encounters one similarity, fine. So he just becomes very excited, and he was very happy of the fact that he was not the only one who had been forced to move to change places. Okay, he was happy to know that Shmuel also had to go through the same thing. Then he further goes on, and Bruno says that Fury, he was not able to pronounce Führer properly. So he used to say Fury. And also he was unable to pronounce Auschwitz. He used to call it Outwith. Right? So Fury, by Fury he means Führer only. So he says that the Führer came for dinner. So one day Adolf Hitler, who is the Führer over here, Adolf Hitler, he visited their house in Berlin, and the next thing he knew that he had to move, all of them had to move to Auschwitz. So this Hitler went there, visited their house, and he had asked his father, Bruno's father Ralph, that he had been made the commandant of Auschwitz concentration camp, so they would have to move there. So that is why. So this was the reason for them to change places. And then again he says, he reiterates that how much he hates this place, Auschwitz. Okay, so. Then again he asked Shmuel that whether he has come to whether Führer Adolf Hitler went to their house also, and the same thing had happened to them also. Okay. Umeed, switch on your video. Sanvi, you can read ahead.
No, we were told that we couldn't live in our house, and one day the soldiers came with huge trucks and continued smell, and everyone was told to leave our houses. And the king, he hesitated for a moment and bit his lip. Bruno thought he was going to start crying and couldn't understand why. The train was horrible.
Sanvi, mute yourself. So now he says when Bruno thinks that he has encountered a similarity, so all the things must be similar, okay, between him and Bruno. So he says that whether Hitler came to their house also and did the same thing to them also. So Shmuel says no, nothing like that happened with them. Okay, they were just told that they couldn't live in their house. And one day what happened is that the soldiers, there were many soldiers, they came with huge trucks. Okay, very large trucks were brought by the soldiers, and everyone was told, everyone means all the people, all the Jews, okay, were told to leave their houses, and the trucks took us to the train. So this is how he had completed his journey. First of all, they were taken on a truck to the train, and then the train. So then he stopped, he paused. Okay, he hesitated for a moment and bit his lip, because now he could recall all the experience. Okay, he is not talking about whatever he has suffered. So he has become emotional. Okay, the situation, he was so much in pain that he could not even continue his sentence. So he stopped. Okay, he bit his lip in order to stop crying. and Bruno could figure it out. Okay, Bruno thought that he was going to start crying, but he couldn't understand what is there to cry in all of this. Okay, so then let's see what happens next. Yes, Arav?
The train was horrible, said Shul. There were too many of us in the carriages. For one thing, and it was suffocating and smelled awful. When the train finally stopped, continued Shul, we were in a very cold place and we all had to walk here. And Mama was taken away from us, and Papa and Joseph and I were put into the huts over there. And that's where we've been ever since.
Okay. So now he continues, he gathers some courage, Shmuel, and he starts to continue, and he continues his sentence, and he says that the train was horrible. Okay, you cannot imagine how horrible the train was, because there were so many people in the carriage. Carriage means the coach, the coaches of the train. So he says that a lot of people boarded on one carriage, okay, overloaded carriage, and then it was also suffocating. It was very hard. It was very difficult for them to breathe, and the carriage also smelled awful, because there were quite many people over there who had boarded the train, who had boarded on one carriage, okay, beyond the capacity of the carriage. Fine. So he has mentioned two things. Fine. He has mentioned two things over here. Why the train was horrible? Because there were many people. Okay, the train was overboarded, and then it was also suffocating, and it smelled very badly. So when the train finally stopped, we were in a very cold place. So when the train stopped, they were brought to a very cold place here in the concentration camp, and they all had to walk there. Okay, so from their houses, they were picked up on a truck, and they were made to board a train. And then when the train arrived to Auschwitz, they were just asked to walk to this place, to this concentration camp, and his mother was also taken away from them. All right, because women were made to live in a different concentration camp, right? So his his brother Joseph, and he himself, all three were taken to separate concentration camp, and his mother, being a woman, was taken to another concentration camp. So this was again very traumatic for a small boy to, part with his mother, to get separated from his mother. Fine, because he was very young. So you can just imagine what trauma this young boy must have had. Okay, because he had to leave his place, he had to leave his comfort zone, he had to leave his mother, and he has to live here in such a pathetic condition in the concentration camp, and he also has no idea why all this has happened, and he is totally unaware of the fact that he is going to die very soon, because someday or the other his turn will also come, and he would be taken to the gas chamber where he would breathe his last. All right, so let's find out what will happen next. Need you want to read? Unmute chat.
Yes, ma'am. I'm from He Hesitated.
No, me. Shmuel looked very sad.
Okay, ma'am. Shmuel looked very sad when he told this. Are there many boys over there? Asked Bruno. Hundreds, said Shmuel. Bruno's eyes opened wide. Hundreds? He said, amazed. That's not fair at all. There's no one to play with on this side of the fence. Not a single person. Perhaps I could come and meet your friends, said Bruno. He had hoped that Shmuel would suggest this himself, but there didn't seem to be any sign of that. We are on the wrong side of the fence, though, said Shmuel. I could crawl under, said Bruno, reaching down and lifting the barbed wire off the ground in the center, between the wooden telegraph poles. It lifted quite easily, and a boy as small as Bruno could easily through,
Okay.
fit through.
Yes. Mute yourself. Now, what happens is that for Shmel, the situation is very bad. Okay, much worse than Bruno. Bruno's problem is nothing in front of Shmel's problem. So when he was telling all his story. So Shmel looked very sad. Okay, and but Bruno had no idea what is there to be sad about all these things. Then he is stuck on the same thing, whether there are many boys on his side, and then he has a lot many friends over there. Okay, so Bruno again asks, okay, whether there are many boys over there. So Shmuel says 100. Okay, hundreds of boys are there. So we can just see over here that hundreds of his age, of hundreds of kids were there who were of 9 years of age, and they were brought there in order to die. Okay, they were just waiting for their death. So I have already told you that around 6 million Jews were killed during this Holocaust. Fine. So he says that hundreds of boys are here of my age. Then Bruno's eyes open wide. Bruno is just stuck on the same thing and just cribbing on the same thing, that he has nobody to play. The life is being very unfair to him, and it is not at all fair that he has a lot of friends and Bushmal has a lot of friends, and on the other side of the fence and on his side of the fence, not a single person is there with whom he could play and have fun. All right, enjoy life. So. Bruno continues and suggests that he could come over there. We could go to the side of to Shmel's side and meet his friends. All right. So he thought that Shmel would invite him over on his own, but when he saw that there is no sign of him doing that, so he himself invited himself over to the other side of the fence to meet the other boys who were there on the side of Shmuel. Then Shmuel, being a sensible child, he says that you are on the wrong side of the fence. That means, how will you be able to cross this barbed wire? Okay, such a tall fence. How are you going to cross it? So Bruno had everything planned out. He says that I would crawl under. Okay, and then he was just trying to lift the barbed wire from the ground, and then in the center between the wooden telegraph poles. So there were telegraph poles. Okay, what are telegraph poles? These are the kind of poles that are used for supporting telephone wires. Okay, on which the telephone wires used to get supported. So when he reached in the center, he found that there are telegraph poles, and in between those telegraph poles, it was very easy to lift the wire, and a boy who is as small as Bruno could easily crawl through the wire. Okay. So this is where the story ends here, because it is just a small extract which has been taken from the novel, right? So you can see that Bruno can just not imagine what was the problem and what was the situation through which Shmuel was going. All right, Shmuel's life was in danger. He had left his place and he had been brought to a place and made to live in a very bad condition. Okay, with inadequate facilities. He had been made to leave his mother. Okay, to get separated from his mother, and then he also is not aware whether how long he is going to live. And for Shmuel and for Bruno, the only problem is that he does not have anybody to play with. Okay, so you can see that in front of Shmuel's problem, Bruno's problem was nothing. Okay, Tiny will also be a small bird. saying Bruno's problem was actually not a problem, fine. But for Shmuel, it was a matter of life and death. Okay, and he had also been subjected to torture. Here the story ends, but you know what happens further is that this is just the thing of the first meeting, when they met for the first time. But in the novel, they continue to meet. They meet several times. Okay, Bruno also brings good food for his friend, for Shmuel, every now and then. And then one fine day, what happens is that Shmuel tells Bruno that his father is missing. He could not find his father in the concentration camp. But because his father might have been taken to the gas chamber and he might have been subjected to death. Okay, but Shmuel was unaware of that. Shmuel says that he could not find his father. So Bruno says that, okay, I'll come to your side. Okay, you bring some of the clothes. So Shmuel brings some striped pajamas and striped shirt, the same kind of clothes, and he gives that clothes to Bruno. Bruno wears them, leaves his clothes on his side of the fence, and crawls under to the concentration camp. When he reaches concentration camp and he goes into one such camp, then all of a sudden, what happens is that lot of soldiers, they come to that camp, and they collect all the people who were there in the camp, where Bruno and Shmuel were also there. So and they were lined up, taken to the gas chamber, and along with Shmuel, Bruno also dies, because he enters the concentration camp in order to help his friend out. So that was a fateful day, because on the day when Bruno goes to the concentration camp and reaches that particular concentration camp, the people of which were asked to were supposed to be taken to the concentration camp in order to subject them to death. So Bruno also loses his life along with his friend Shmuel. Okay, and then afterwards, his parents, where they find out that Bruno's clothes were there on their side of the fence, and they figure out that Bruno is also they have lost Bruno. So the story has a tragic end. All right. So I hope you people have understood. Thank you.